Assalamualaikum everyone. So my name is DINIE AFRINA BINTI AZRUL and I'm from ED 2416C class, which means I'm from TESOL course. So for today's video, it is about my reflection after our SULAM project. So here with me is Kausar in the video, which is one of my group members for the SULAM project. This project consists of 8 classes, 3 classes from Part 6 TESOL students, 2 classes from Part 6 Physical Education students, 1 biology class, 1 physics class, and 1 chemistry class from Part 2 students. We had our SULAM Project B on Thursday, 25th of June 2026 at SMK BANDAR Sungai BULOH, and it involved students from Form 1 until Form 4. So with me, we have Jiha and also Shahra at the back. So our SULAM project is about a science fair called EDUQuest STEM Carnival 2026. STEM stands for Science, Technology, Engineering, and Mathematics. In this video with me, I bring to you Madam Zulinda, our lecturer for Science, Technology, and Society for 6C class. We had 8 STEM booths from 8 different classes across the Faculty of Education. We have 1 booth from our collaborator, GPMS, also known as Gabungan Pelajar Melayu Semenanjung, and the school students' booth themselves. So on the day of the project, we arrived at the school and we went to the hall for our last booth setup before the opening ceremony. And this is the part where the school and UITM exchange signature as well as certificates. So this is 6C booth setup. We did carbon dioxide experiment and UBLEC. We have prepared so much for our booth. We have videos, we have pamphlets, we have the pre and post test, as well as the ingredients for the experiments. For the carbon dioxide experiment, we filled the balloon with baking soda and in the bottle is vinegar. We will then dunk the baking soda inside the balloon into the bottle filled with vinegar, and the balloon will expand because the baking soda mixed with vinegar produce carbon dioxide gas, as well as sodium acetate, which is salt, and H2O, which is water. As for the hands-on activity for the students, we have prepared a little experiment for them to try with us. We sprinkle a generous amount of baking soda inside the container and we light up the candle. So what the students will do next is to pour the vinegar around the candle on the baking soda without touching the fire. So next the students will see that the fire will be put out because the existence of carbon dioxide gas when mixing the baking soda and the vinegar. The experiments that the students did is to see whether is it true that baking soda mixed with vinegar produce carbon dioxide. We use candle to measure CO2 gas because we know that it can put out a fire. Next is oobleck, or we call it as the magic goo. Oobleck is a mixture of cornstarch and water, but the cornstarch doesn't dissolve. It just floats around as tiny particles surrounded by the water. When you tap it or punch it or lump it together in your hands quickly, the particles get pushed together suddenly. They jam up against each other, trapping the water in between. This makes oobleck feels hard and solid. But when you let it sit or move slowly, the water flows freely between the particles, letting them slide past each other easily. This makes oobleck feels soft and liquid. This is what we called as a non-Newtonian fluid, a substance that changes how thick or runny it feels depending on how much force or pressure is applied to it. There's a lot of difficulties and challenges that I faced before, during, and after the project. So, we initially planned to do our Sulam project at Al Amin Tropicana Secondary School in Sungai Buloh, which is a private institution. But as suggested by our Sulam coordinator, we changed our school to SMK Bandar Baru Sungai Buloh, or called as Sebaru, due to financial reasonings. Well, it didn't stop there. We had difficulties with the budget because we are tight on it. Me and my partner, as the treasurers of this project, only allocated 40 ringgit per class for each booth, and logically speaking, that was not enough. However, we overcame the difficulties by adding a little bit more of our own money to our class booth, as well as cut as many costs as possible. Like this, we did our own crew tag by ourselves. I personally printed the crew tag at the store and laminated it myself. The difficulties that we faced during the day of the project itself was the lack of ingredients for our experiments. That day we had two sessions. The first sessions was in the morning with Form 3 and Form 4 students, and the second session was after 12 p.m. with Form 1 and Form 2 students. In between the sessions, we cleaned up our booth before we started the second session with Form 1 and Form 2 students. Then we realized that we only had two bottles of vinegar left and also two full containers of baking soda. Those two ingredients were very significant for the carbon dioxide reaction experiment. We were so shocked to the point that we thought of buying more vinegar as well as the baking soda. But we remembered that we already provided a video beforehand. It was such a great move to have this video because in the hall it was so loud and the students could barely hear our voices. The video contains two of our experiments with captions so that the students can read the instructions as well as the ingredients needed. We only exchanged the live demonstration into video for the explanation as well as the hands-on experiment still went on as usual. And Alhamdulillah, we finished our SULAM project according to our tentative, which was at 3 in the evening. We cleaned up the hall and we wrapped up everything nicely before we went back home. I rested a little bit in the bus as well as in my college, and the next day I did our financial report for the project. And yep, not a surprise, the financial report was the struggle that I faced after the project. Well, the thing is, the treasurers will have to do a financial report for the project and claim the budget approval from the faculty. There was quite a misunderstanding regarding the class booth money claims, as I've mentioned earlier, 2 months prior, before the project begins, that we have only allocated 40 ringgit per class, but there were several classes that used up to 180 ringgit for their booths. There's a bit of unfairness here and there. We are still waiting for the budget approval, and I have made an announcement in our big group regarding the clarity and transparency of the money management. So I hope I've cleared the misunderstandings between the project members. Since I have several experiences in handling and be a part of projects committee before, I've got quite a clear idea on how to manage a project. I've experienced on becoming the program director, the co-program director, and also regular bureau. But I have never become the secretary or treasurer before, hence the reason I took this opportunity to learn new things in the position that is foreign to me. One of the skill that many people look past through it, but it's very significant in organizing a project, is to listen and accept other people's opinion. That is one of the skill that I'm still trying to improve because I believe other people's ideas, other people's opinions are more realistic and could make sense, especially when they are the expert in the field, which in this case it's science, because I'm an English teacher. I come from English department. I'm a TESOL student. So I may have the skill of language and delivery, but I realized that I might not have sufficient amount of information or knowledge regarding sciences. Hence the reason why I also need to listen to other people's opinions and ideas. The values that I've gained throughout the project are patience and responsibility. We were working with semester 2 students from biology, physics, and chemistry class, right? Since they are first year students, I do understand if some of them may not have a lot of experience in handling projects before. So I need to be very patient with them when there's also an issue going on between us. I have to patiently teach them and make them understand how procedures work in administration part. I was once in their place before, and the bad thing is I had no one to guide me, and I had to find the answer on my own by myself. So I wouldn't wish anyone to be in my place as I was before. So I need to make changes by helping them understand and by helping them do and give instructions to them of what they have to actually do at their part. So, as for the responsibility part, I do understand that Other people have different schedules, different commitments in their life, but they also have to weigh in the group project, as this project is handled by students from different classes, different courses across the Faculty of Education. We have to understand that even though this is just an elective subject, but due to the fact that this is a group project, on the other hand, we have to take it seriously because other people's marks depend on us as well. So we have to listen to the leader's instruction. We have to make effort to understand our job scope. We can't be the people who need to be spoon feed. We have to speak in a well mannered tone in anything regarding the work of this project, right? So everything must be very particular since we were working with people that we barely know. So, personally, for me, the biggest thing that we have to understand is our role in an organization. Like me, I'm the treasurer. I need to understand my role. I need to know what I should do in my role, in my position. Because if you don't understand it and you did other people's work, then there will be a lot of issues arise from there. So, honestly speaking, I think the coolest thing our booth showed was something we did not expect. A lot of the visitors who came by already knew about the CO2 balloon or the oobleck. Like they'd seen it online or done it before at their house. But when we asked them afterward, they couldn't really explain why it was happening, why the chemical reaction happened. So, our booth ended up doing more than just showing off a fun experiment. It actually helped close that gap between knowing about something and actually understanding it and able to explain it to their friends. So, running this booth reminded me that science isn't confined to labs or textbooks. Everyday materials like vinegar and baking soda that we used in our CO2 balloon experiment, right? And also cornstarch and water that we use in our oobleck experiment can reveal real scientific principles when explored hands-on. It made me realize that even something as small as a school booth plays a role in building curiosity and scientific literacy in community. I realized that just because something looks cool or is everywhere online, is very trending in TikTok, in Instagram Reels, that doesn't mean people actually get the science behind it. We're surrounded by science content all the time now, but a lot of it stays pretty surface level. It's more about the wow factor than the actual explanation. So I think there's still a real place for hands on, in person learning like what we did in our project, where you're not just watch something happen, you're actually being pushed to think about the why. So, this whole project really changed how I think about teaching, and not just for science. As an English teacher, I used to assume that exposing students to a text or a concept was enough. But this taught me exposure isn't the same as understanding. So, going forward, I want to build in a more of those quick check-in moments, kind of like our exit tickets, the one that we did the pre and post test, to actually see if students get it instead of just assuming they do. My commitment is honestly pretty simple. I want to keep doing the check before you assume thing in my own classroom, whether that's a quick poll, a written reflection, a feedback, or just asking the right question at the right moment. And beyond just my subject, I want to keep pushing for hands on experiences for students because I saw it firsthand how much more honest feedback you could get when you actually did the hands-on experiment, hands-on activity, because that is when people actually engage with something instead of just talking about it. So that's all for today's video, my reflection of the project that we did in the past. So that's all. Thank you.